You? Is anybody?
There's Molly, folks. That means your friends the Goldbergs are here. Brought to you by Does, the new kind of soap for everything in your wash. First, let's drop in on the Dozen family. Well, there's Ma Dozen setting the table. Here comes Unky Dozen, all excited.
Hey, just think, Ma. I'm going to get all my dinners free at Harry's lunch wagon.
Harry's lunch wagon? How come?
Well, I discovered Harry and his wife didn't know about Does for dishes.
Oh.
So I told them, just like you say, that this new kind of soap for everything in the wash really has everything for dishes, too.
Did you explain Does make suds that stand up till the last dish is done?
Yeah, and he cuts grease like 60.
Yet it's kinder to hand.
You bet. I said, Harry, you can wash stacks of dishes with Does, and those suds will still be standing up. You won't have to add new soap.
Oh, very good.
And then I says to Harry's wife, my dear lady, you won't have to scour the grease off in those pans either, 'cause Does cuts tough grease in less than half a minute.
What'd she say?
Well, she said, Does sure sounds swell,
Too.
but how'll it treat my hands?
You told her Does is kinder to hand.
Sure, I says, Does will take good care of your hands. Just ask Ma how nice and soft Does leaves her hands.
That's right, Unky.
Then Harry says, Unky, to show my gratitude for telling us about Does for dishes, you can have your dinners free here every night. Now, isn't that wonderful, Ma?
Well, it sure is, Unky. If you prefer Harry's hamburgers to the dinners I fix for you, and free, too.
Oh, good gosh, I never thought about that.
Well, anyway, Unky remembered Does for dishes. Why, compared to other leading granulated wash day soaps, Does is the only one to give you all this. Makes suds that stand up till the last dish is done, cuts grease like 60, yet it's kinder to hands. Better change to Does, D-U-Z. It has everything for dishes. And now, the Goldbergs. You know, Molly Goldberg, in her own particular way, has a conscience which is extraordinarily sensitive to injustice. Right now, her problem is to secure justice for Grace and George, who ran off with the money that the people of Lastenbury had contributed to the Delinquent Children's Fund. These people, acting as judge and jury, have just heard the case of the two defendants. George faced them with courage, took the entire blame on his shoulders. But Grace defied them, called them names, and said she didn't care what happened to her. Now the two are in another room, while Molly makes one last plea. Listen.
Who's that? Who came in, please?
It's me. It's Rosie, Mr. Haley.
Rosalie?
Yes, Mom.
Excuse me, please.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
Ma, Rosalie,
Ma, how late are you
please.
going to be here?
We're in the middle deciding.
Where are Grace and George?
Inside.
Why?
Because everybody's deciding what's to be done and what's to be did.
Well, how does it look, Ma?
It would have looked much better if Grace did what I employed her to do.
Implored.
What did I say?
Employed?
I said employed.
You did, Ma.
Is this the time for English lessons when I'm so beside myself?
Well, don't be, Ma. It's out of your hands now. It's up to the people of Lastenbury to do what they think is right.
I'm also a people from Lastenbury. My voice is also a voice.
Majority rules, Ma.
Thank you. Did I say I'm the majority?
Ma, why?
Go home, Roslyn. Please, go home. Go home. Arrange for a snack because when I'm nervous, I'm hungry.
There's nothing home.
There's nothing home. Nothing home. There's nothing home in the refrigerator. It must be steak or cutlets to be something. Learn that everything is something. There's milk, no. And there's bread, no. There's apples and there's prunes and there's eggs and there's jelly and there's jam and there's tea and there's coffee.
You're nervous, Ma.
Realize your blessings, Rosalie, that's all. You're living in the horn of plenty. That's why you can't judge another human being. Maybe if Grace and George in their childhood convalescence...
Adolescence.
I didn't say it.
You didn't, Ma.
Rosalie, since you had measles, Rosalie, your left ear...
Ma.
For the left one. Yes, Jake.
What's the laughing? Is this a moment for laughter?
Rosalie, go and fix.
How long is this meeting going to last? I'm vanished with hunger.
Famished, Pa.
Famished,
What
Jake.
did I say?
You said vanished.
I said...
Bye.
Come inside, Jake. Come
Are
in.
you convinced now, Molly, that no matter how Grace is punished, is what she deserves?
All right, Jake, I'm not convinced.
Now, Mrs. Decker, how can we reach a fair decision if you're going to keep on
Oh, if you're going to make me shut up every time I open my mouth, I might just go home and leave it all to you to decide what's to be done with those two ordinary cheap thieves.
Well, if they were just two ordinary cheap thieves, I guess we wouldn't be gathered here tonight trying to decide what to do with them.
Do? There's only one thing to do. That's to let the law decide what to do with them. And you, Constable Newton, you're a servant of the law.
Mrs. Decker, please, I just...
If I'm talking too loud and you're afraid those two will hear me...
Yes, Mrs. Decker, you are talking too loud.
Oh.
And Mrs. Decker, if you're criticizing me...
Indeed I am, Constable Newton.
Well, now, what do you want me to do? Go inside and put handcuffs on them?
Why not? They've capitalized on this war. We have sons in the Army. There isn't a family in town that doesn't have a boy in camp or overseas. I wouldn't care so much if they were just ordinary crooks that were here and got away with some money. But it's how they did it. It's what their game was. Going from camp to camp, getting acquainted with soldiers, learning all about who the boy was and where he came from. And when the boy was shipped off to some battlefront, these two harpies would descend on his family and play on the sympathies of the parents. And that girl pretending to be your son's wife, Mrs. Goldberg. Well, I read the other day where a girl married 7 soldiers to get several allotments. Well, you can live pretty well on 7 allotments.
We are talking about Grace and George.
So am I.
Well, Constable, Carrie Decker's told us how she feels.
Yeah.
Of course,
But of
Molly.
course-
she's more guilty than he is.
But nevertheless, they're both here to stand trial.
And if I
Now,
could...
Mrs. Goldberg, my heart's just as soft and just as tender as yours is. What's the law for? That's all I'm asking. For our protection. Now, these 2 people are useless citizens.
But if I may, if I might, I'm not the one to make a, how shall I say it, a speech or a plea for Grace and George. But maybe my feelings for them wouldn't be so easy to explain. I have a great, weakness. Call it a weakness or whatever, which or what. I don't know. I like people. I like people, good or bad, wrong or right. I'm evidently wrong because without law and order, this world would be, it would be.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Mrs. Decker, please.
Mrs. Decker is right, Bruce. Mrs. Decker is right. I wish it was easy for me to say what I feel, but if you'll only abide with me. Because I think there's one thing we all forgot. The main thing and the most important thing. I think we forgot that there are 3 people involved. Not 2. There's 3. There's going to be a baby. And that's not just an ordinary thing. When in one of our families a child is born, we think of all the wonderful things the child will have that we didn't have, and we know that if there's any strength in us, then the child will have it all. Am I right? And that's the way. We as a single, each person has to do with the world.
You're right, Mrs. Goldberg. That's the way we do our share in society.
That's the way we do our share in society. It's not only the child, it's the world of children that becomes the world of grown-ups. It's the world. Each child's happiness depends on the other children who are coming into the world, what they will be and what they'll become. So with Grace's child, if Grace can give the child a chance, then we, like Bruce Hanley said, like society, then society must. And we must give the child its chance, and if giving the child a chance, Grace and George are given another chance, then they must have it. The baby must have a chance. Because what are we? What are we? Are we gamblers? Are we betters? Are we just hoping that everything will come out good? We're human beings with a responsibility to another life on our hands. And if there is any chance, then our voices should speak out. Without hesitation. What are we hesitating? We're not gods. We're people. It's not the world that they say that is bad. They say the people in it is bad. That's the saying. Always. It's the saying. And then that means that all the people, and it'll always be the people until we take up our responsibilities. That's what I mean. Bruce, that's what I mean. See?
I think you can all see what Mrs. Goldberg is driving at. I don't think any more talk is going to help you make up your minds. So if we all have a little quiet, sit back and do a spell of thinking. I will, too. And just mark your decision on a piece of paper. We'll have a secret ballot so nobody will hold a grudge against his neighbor. Just think about what Mrs. Goldberg said. It's a new life we're responsible for.
Well, I'd like a pencil, please.
Yeah, pass it along. Just fold the paper and put it in Newton's hat.
What are we supposed to write?
Just yes or no.
But what's that going to mean?
Yes will mean having him arrested and brought to trial, and no will mean
What?
that we'll have to put them on probation till the baby is born.
When will that be?
Christmas.
As these townspeople sit in Molly's house, they begin to realize what a great responsibility it is to sit in judgment on your neighbors. You know, a listener writes, I love Molly Goldberg. She's so willing to help everybody. Yes, and you know, my young friend Dickie Doesn't tries to help folks, too. But sometimes his efforts just don't work out. Take yesterday. Dickie said,
Mr. Collier, I've written a song for you. Listen. Oh, does your wash with the greatest of ease. It's a new kind of soap, and it's spelled D-U-Z. How's that?
Swell, Dickie. But you ought to tell how does everything in the wash. Work shirts, towels, to rayon slips. You see, ladies, this new kind of soap is really terrific. Why, compared to other leading granulated wash day soaps, Does gives greater safety to the nice colors you wash, plus unsurpassed whiteness for towels and real cleaning power for dirty work clothes. Even in the toughest wash, Does everything. And friends, Does sends you this wartime reminder. Soap contains vital, warm materials our country needs. So don't waste soap. Always measure your Does carefully into your machine. See that every bit of Does you use does more. Be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Berg. Tomorrow, a vote is taken. This is Clayton Collier speaking and reminding you to do as the Doesums do. Let Does, the new kind of soap, do everything in your wash.